Hey there, I am back with the top 12 decks of 2021. The last couple of years in playing cards have really sort of experienced amazing growth, tons of new collectors entering the hobby, and really talented designers who have stepped up their game to kind of help fill that demand in the market. It's always hard to limit things down to 12 decks, but this is my attempt to sort of highlight what were the decks that stood out the most to me personally. So let me know down in the comments where you think I got things right, where you think I got them wrong. What were your top decks of the year? Really interested to know. That said, before we get into the top 12, wanted to highlight a few honorable mention decks. These are the ones that just barely missed the cut, but I thought really deserved a bit of a mention in this video. So we'll kick it off with the first honorable mention deck. This is Vengeance of Witches from Nikolai Arrow. This is the Hagazusa version. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's an amazing deck that kind of goes into the theme of a 17th century witch hunt. Love the dark kind of vibe of the tuck case, that dusty gold against the black cardstock. Just a really rich and powerful feeling tuck case. The embossing beautifully done in this one. The artwork, the detail all the way around, just tons to look at. And the cards really live up to it as well. Now, the one sort of disappointing fact for me, I thought the back design kind of fell a little bit short. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail in it. But as you flip it over, the artwork on the cards is where this really shines. You get things like the Diptych Joker with that beautiful artwork on it. And the real high point of any Nikolai Arrow deck is always going to be in his court cards. All of this artwork on this he did personally, and it's really just phenomenal work on these. The sketch style of these, the incredible detail that goes into them. He's a really, really talented artist, and it shows on all of his playing card decks. And so this one, a really great deck overall, well deserving of the honorable mention spot. Also in that honorable mention list is one from another legend in playing cards. This is from Oath, and this is Moresque. Lautrec designed this deck as a follow-up to Arabesque, which I think was in 2019. And that was a great deck in its own right, but Moresque really improves on it in every aspect. The tuck case with that beautiful kind of pearlescent stock, the green and the gold, really just has that richness and that luxury feel to it overall. And the cards improved all over the place as well. The back design features those metallic hits and that green, gold, and silver. Just a great look to it overall. And the court cards greatly improved as well. That background on them with that gold and red, the vibrant look to these sort of reimagined court cards. You can definitely see the inspiration from Bicycle Courts, but given that Arab flair, just a really phenomenal deck overall. Kind of think of it as more of a player's deck. This is one that would be suitable to use for gameplay or anything like that, and really just sort of elevate it to the next level. And surprisingly for a Lautrec deck, these actually handle really well as well. Usually Lautrec decks are some of the worst handling decks out there, but these are actually really smooth handling. So if you're looking for a Lautrec deck, you like the art, but you wish they handled a little bit better, this is one that I would highly recommend checking out. Moresque, a phenomenal deck. All right, so the third honorable mention is The Secret from Chamber of Wonders. Now, this is sort of in that luxury line of decks that Riffle Shuffle's been so fond of. And this one definitely sort of follows the pattern of a lot of those other decks, things like the King Arthur deck or Atlantis, both great decks as well. A lot of people sort of complain that the decks from Riffle Shuffle kind of are a little bit formulaic, all similar, but for me, just can't get enough. Every single one of the decks features amazing foil work, something worthy of Theory 11. The golds, the reds, the embossing and foil on every inch of the tuck case really just has that high impact to it. And the cards are beautiful as well. Great artwork. All the artwork on these was done by Alba Zapata. She's worked with Riffle Shuffle before and on a few other decks, but she really outdid herself on this one. Beautiful back design, and you can really see her style come to life in the court cards. That line work that she does is really beautiful, and the secret society theme that's brought through this deck is really just kind of comes to life with the court cards, looking at some of the different characters who maybe are parts of or leaders in a secret society throughout history. It's a great deck overall. For me, one of, if not the best of the luxury decks that Riffle Shuffle has done. And so really wanted to give them a shout out in the video. And then the last of the honorable mentions comes from Curio Playing Cards. This is Anatomica. First-time designer Jamie, or first-time producer, I should say, Jamie, worked with a designer by the name of Amal Nur Karim. You can see her credited there. She's a really talented Argentinian artist, and you can see some of her artwork on the tuck case, but what really stands out most about this deck is, of course, the cards. This is the alternative version, and so it features fully foiled back designs in that deep maroon color. I love red on cards, it's my favorite, and this one has it all over the place. Beautiful anatomy-inspired artwork on these, and the faces of the cards fully foiled as well. Just such a bright shine to these, and the real highlight, of course, is in the court cards. These sort of three-quarter body court cards are beautifully illustrated by Amal. Some amazing artwork, and I love the theme with the sort of split bodies, half a regular body and then half torn away to reveal some of the anatomy within. Amazing artwork on these, and a truly impressive first deck for Jamie and Curio Playing Cards. So kudos to Jamie, kudos to Amal. Really excited to see what else is upcoming for Curio in the future. Anyway, that's it. That is the honorable mention decks for 2021, but we have 12 decks that made the list, so let's get right into those. Top 12 kicks off with a trip to the circus. This is Circus Black Mosquito Edition from Marianne Larson. So we talked about Nikolai Arrow in the honorable mention, but Marianne Larson is a bit of his partner in crime. They worked together over at Design Imperator, but this particular deck was designed by Marianne, and she is, as you're gonna see, an amazing artist in her own right. The Circus deck is inspired by the vintage Circus, and I love the scene that's built out on this tuck case. Just an absolute explosion of detail. You have the ringmaster and the snake charmer in the center, and then just tons of detail on this embossed tuck case, little hits of foil throughout, just really capturing that circus vibe throughout it, but kind of giving it a bit of a darker undertone. But the cards themselves are really where this is at. Now, if there is a weak spot in the deck, it's the back design. I'm not a huge fan of what was put together here. Lots of gold metallic on here, but the design just doesn't look as ornate and detailed as I would have expected with the rest of the deck. That said, it is more than made up for as you get into the cards themselves. Immediately with the Jokers, you get a little bit of that circus vibe, those vintage images, but where it all really comes together is in the court cards that feature some of the classic characters that you'll find at the circus, and they are beautifully drawn portraits of each of them. You'll recognize different characters like the human cannonball there. Just really fantastic artwork on these. The detail, how vibrant the colors are, and just the sort of whimsy that's captured in each one of them. I love the tattooed woman there. Just a beautiful set of court cards that really capture the feel of the theme so incredibly well. I am a huge fan of this deck. Marianne has not done nearly as many decks as Nikolai Arrow has, but you can see right off the bat from Circus and some of the others that she's done, she is every bit his equal as a talent. So really excited to pick this one up this year and glad to include it to kick off the top 12 list, but let's keep it going. Number 11 on the list brings us to the most prolific creator and producer out there, Jackson Robinson of Kingswell Project. We have Alice in Wonderland. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I got a little bit of Kingswell fatigue this year. Tons of different decks, including multiple versions of his classic currency decks. Beautiful decks, I just didn't need quite as many versions. That said, it's easy to forget just how talented of an artist that Jackson Robinson is. And when he pulls it together into a brand new custom deck, it really just sort of snaps that back into focus for me. Alice in Wonderland, I think, is some of the best work that he's done in a while. I love the tuck case that sort of captures the feel of the classic Lewis Carroll novel, the beautiful gold foiling and the deep embossing, and that sort of vintage inspired look to it overall. Love the color scheme on it, the design, just everything in here just really feels over the top luxury. And the cards, of course, are gonna have lots of vibrant characters to go around. One of my favorite cards is that diptych Joker, that vertical diptych Joker with the image of Alice falling down the rabbit hole. And The cards are fully custom. Every single one of them features ornate artwork, tons of detailing and patterning on every single card. The best ones though are usually or to be expected, the court cards with all of the classic characters. There's Alice with her flamingo croquet mallet, the white rabbit, all the familiar characters if you know the story, and they're beautifully illustrated, fun looks to them overall, just lots of whimsy in the characters, really fitting for the novel itself. I love this deck. I love the artwork on it. I love the style. There's just very little wrong with this deck in my book. Like I said, as many great decks as Jackson's done, this is to me one of his best out there. So big fan of Alice in Wonderland. Glad to include this one on the list at number 11, but we've got 10 more decks to go, so let's keep moving. Number 10 on my list is Hummingbird Feathers from Marvelous Decks. Now, this deck was a real surprise for me, and honestly, I waited on picking this one up for a while. I was kind of on the fence with it, but boy, am I glad I finally picked one up. Now, it comes in 3 different versions. There's the red, blue, and purple. We're looking here at, of course, the red version of the deck, and it's a deck that's inspired by, of all things, hummingbird feathers. They're famously iridescent and have an amazing glow to them, and he wanted to bring that forth in the marvelous, in his hummingbird feathers deck that you see here. It features deep sculpted embossing in the form of hummingbird feathers and a really nice tuck sleeve that just sort of lends a bit of elegance to the deck overall. But as you slide that off, you can see those beautiful shimmering feathers that form up the tuck case itself. They almost have this sort of rainbow glow to them. A little bit hard to show up on camera, but as you tilt this in natural light, you almost see the colors of it change. You'll see reds, blues, yellows, purples, all just sort of pop out as you tilt the deck in the light. It's a really impressive look to it, and it's even more pronounced as you get to the cards themselves. The cards really cleverly use holographic foil mixed in with the colors to produce an almost color-changing effect on the cards themselves. Again, a little bit hard to see on camera here, but maybe you'll notice that some of those portions will turn from kind of a darker red to almost yellow as you tilt it in the light. It's just an amazing effect, and one that I've never seen before. It just kind of blew me away as I looked at it. And that borderless back design, by the way, looks truly amazing in fans at the same time. And the cards themselves, all beautiful. They feature little hits of that multicolored foil that just give you that beautiful shine to every single one of the cards. It's a great deck all the way through. Features fairly classic looking court cards, but of course embellished with little bits of hollow foil. And the aces, I love the images of the hummingbirds on them. Just a really impressive deck all the way through. A surprising one, like I said, for me, and one that I could not be happier to have finally picked up. So glad to get these. You can still get these on their site if you're interested. I highly recommend them. Go check them out if you haven't already. But that's number 10. We got more to go, so let's keep moving. My number 9 deck is probably a little bit less known amongst collectors. This is the Stormlight Archive. Now, it's a deck that's based on a book series by the same name from author Brandon Sanderson, my favorite author in fantasy. His books are amazingly deep and detailed, and this deck was actually a companion to a leather-bound version of his book that he was launching on Kickstarter. Now, I'm incredibly glad that I found the deck. As a fan of playing cards and a fan of Brandon Sanderson, was really excited to see the characters and the people of Roshar brought to life through the deck. And boy, did they do a great job. The artwork on this one was done by Rebecca Jensen. As far as I know, this is the only deck of playing cards she's done, but I really hope she does more in the future. Regular kind of glossy finish tuck case, but you can already see hints of the beautiful artwork that we're going to get treated to on the cards themselves. And as soon as I looked at that back design, I was just blown away by everything in this deck. The beautiful detail almost looks like it's stone creatures on the back design. Some of the plant life that you'll find around Roshar that's given features. Just lots of ornate detail throughout. But even better are the jokers and the court cards. Bright, vibrant characters pulled straight out of the book and just brought absolutely to life on the cards themselves. Fantastic artwork on these, and the colors that they chose, just really amazing. The blues, the oranges, the reds, just lots of vibrant detail, just helps these characters pop off of the cards. And if you've read the books, you'll recognize some of the more well-known characters, ones like Dalinar Kholin, his son Adolin there on the Jack of Spades. Just a phenomenal deck of cards, and if you're a fan of the books, I'll say this is a must-have deck. Really just brings new life to everything. Great to see all those characters in full art. It's just an amazing deck, and one that I'm incredibly glad that I found this year. So that's number 9 with the Stormlight Archive, but let's get on with the list. We have a third way sighting. At number 8 on the list, it's Black Market. Now, those of you who know me know that I am a huge third way fan, so it's not a surprise to see third way make an appearance on my top 12 list. But Black Market really just does something different and unique that I've never seen before. Off the bat, you'll see some ornate line work and everything, but it's pretty standard third way fare, and it's a glossy tuck case. It's not even one of the fancy embossed ones. And then as you get into the cards themselves, it kind of looks the same, right? You have nice line work, lots of detail going on, lots to look at on these, beautiful metallic inks that are used, and surprisingly, court cards that look on face relatively standard, nothing too out of the ordinary. That is until you bring a blacklight to the party. A blacklight reveals secrets on this deck that are unlike anything I've ever seen before. The entire deck is meant to be inspired by sort of a secret society, underground black market where you can get anything in the world. And the blacklight is sort of your entry into the secrets of the black market and the dark underbelly that it has. And so as you shine a blacklight on this, you'll see extra little secrets like black market appears at the top. Other parts will glow. The use of UV inks to bring these cards brand new life is just absolutely amazing and sort of revolutionary in my mind. You know, for example, take a look at the Jack of Spades here. Looks like a regular, ordinary sort of Jack of Spades, but as you hover over it with the black light, you'll see some of the weaponry and things like that that are available in the black market that just pop into view. It's such a creative use of the ink and just really just a fascinating deck to play around with. And in Giovanni fashion, the Jokers as well are absolutely fantastic. There are blacklight hits on them. I'll let you discover some of those for yourself, or you can watch my full review if you want to find out more about some of the secrets of black market. But for the revolutionary creativity that went into this deck, I just had to put it on the list. So excited to have the first third way appearance at number 8 on the list, but let's keep moving. Number 7 on the list takes us to another one of my favorite creators, Yoku playing cards out of Italy, and this is Onda. We're looking at the ultramarine version here. Onda has some amazing artwork spearheaded by Alessandra Gagliano. She has so much talent and really puts it into every one of her decks. This underwater theme deck features a tuck case done by Bashero and Newton, and of course, you always have come to expect that beautiful, intricate foil work, the really subtle and well done embossing on this one. But as usual with Yoku, the highlight comes in as you get into the cards themselves. Amazing detail on them. I love the sort of simple elegance of the swirling fish on the back design, and the court cards and the Jokers feature some of Alessandra's classic artwork. You'll recognize her art if you've seen her other decks, that really distinctive hairstyle that she does, the sort of long, ropey, almost like thick pieces of yarn that form the flowing images on the deck. Just really beautiful design, and the colors that are brought to life in this one are just something over the top. You know, kind of drawing on the coral reefs and the other fish and life that you'll find under the sea. It's just an explosion of different colors that really it's an exciting deck to take a look at. I love Alessandra's artwork all the time, but this one is really just a feature of some of her best work out there. It's a really great deck. Comes in a few different versions. In addition to Ultramarine, there's also the Wave version of the deck, which I think is also fantastic. But if you're just going to pick up one, the Ultramarine version, I think, is sort of the classic version of Onda. So fantastic deck coming in at number 7, but we have 6 more to go. At number 6 on the list, we have Harry Potter from Theory 11. This one comes in 4 different versions, of course inspired by the 4 houses of Hogwarts, and here we're looking at the red Gryffindor version of the deck. It's done in true Theory 11 fashion, has a phenomenal tuck case, just amazing embossing and foil detailing over every square inch of it. Gold and red foil just pops off of this tuck case. That's always to be expected of Theory 11. They always do an amazing job with tuck cases, but this one, just because of my personal familiarity with Harry Potter, just really takes it to another level. So many little symbols to pick up on, and just fun little bits if you're a fan of the books or the movies. That said, sometimes the cards themselves let down a little bit with Theory 11 decks. These, however, in my opinion, do not at all. The back design is amazingly detailed, lots to look at. Kind of reminds me of like the Contraband decks that Theory 11 also did. Some really great artwork in that one. This one features just so much detail. The house animals, the crests in the corners, Harry Potter's glasses and classic star. Just so much to look at in this one. It's a really great back design, and the cards themselves are full custom and amazing as well. The Jokers and the court cards feature artwork by Russ Gray, the same guy who did the Star Wars decks, and of course are going to bring those classic characters to life. This one also features, in my opinion, one of the best Ace of Spades pips that I've seen in a long time, with Hogwarts Castle in the back and then Hedwig spreading his wings in the foreground. Just amazing detail on this one, and that huge spade pip. And then speaking of the court cards, just some great artwork on these. Classic sort of bicycle playing card poses, but of course completely replaced with the characters that we've come to know and love from the Harry Potter series. There's Snape or Sirius Black, Professor McGonagall, just some great artwork, immediately recognizable, just so well drawn. And of course, you're gonna close out with the hearts with the classic trio, Ron, Hermione, and none other than Harry Potter on the King of Hearts. Just a great deck through and through. One of the best that Theory 11's done in a very long time, in my opinion, and a deck I am proud to include on my top 12 list. Great deck to get a hold of, and by the way, only 10 bucks. Can't beat that. But that said, let's get on with the list and get to the top 5 decks. Number 5 on my list is one that I'm sure a lot of people actually have even higher on their own lists. This is the 52 plus Joker Club deck from Stockholm 17. So the 52 plus Joker Club, every year they commission one of the more well-known artists to produce their club deck for that year. And this year they went with the guy who is, in my mind, probably the most well-known and well-loved artist working today in Lorenzo of Stockholm 17. And he really brought his A game to this one, especially in the tuck case. It's a multi-part tuck case, the black outer tuck, the red inner tuck, lots of die cut elements to reveal not just the 2 tucks themselves, but even part of the cards here in the middle. It's a really beautiful tuck case, lots of gold foil to give it all kinds of pop. Just has that elegant parlor look to it overall. And I love the unique opening here. You can pull off the top part, split with that beautiful tuck seal on the back to reveal the inner red tuck as well. And then the cards just slide right out of the top. It's a really unique, beautiful, interesting tuck case, and one that to me is the real standout element of this deck overall. Just love the tuck case on this one. That said, the tuck case is not all there is to the deck. If I get this closed again. The cards themselves are also just really beautiful. Heavy use of gold foil on these. A classic looking back design complete with that Joker resting in the moon, kind of mixing the Stockholm style Joker with the logo of 52 plus Joker. Great kind of mashup of designs there. Really love the artwork on this one. And then the cards themselves. Beautiful hits of gold foil to just accent all of the pips on this. Really just super well done. And then the court cards kind of maintain that classic vibe to them. Definitely inspired by your standard courts, but redrawn and heavily accented with gold foil to just give them all new life. It's, as standard decks go, about as good as you can get. It's just a beautiful deck overall. Great tribute for 52 plus Joker, and in my mind, the best 52 plus Joker deck for sure that there's been ever. So great job by Lorenzo and 52 Plus Joker to produce one of the most memorable decks of the year with their club deck. But let's get to the rest of the top 5. All right, we're in some rarefied air now. At number 4, we have Jay Dentistry from Metal Arc Playing Cards and designer Elettra. Now, the original Metal Arc deck actually made my top 12 list last year, and the sophomore effort, in my mind, is even better. Jay Dentistry is a very sort of whimsical deck overall, kind of mixes a little bit of dentistry along with the Blue Jay, and of course the arch nemesis of dentists everywhere, the sweets that come to play all over the place. Now, in particular, the black licorice version that we're looking at here, I think is the best version of the deck overall. Now, it features a fantastic tuck case, beautiful embossing. These were done by Bashero and Newton, and some of the best tuck cases out there. Love the color schemes, the blues and the pinks just really comes to life. But peeking out through the holes here, you'll see what to me is the standout feature of this deck, and that's the edge painting. Let's pull out the cards to see what I mean. Now, the cards are beautiful in their own right, and we'll look at those in a second, but the edge painting, rather than classic gilding, is really standout. Has that gradient from blue to pink, bright colors, and just gives the entire deck a really unique look. And the cards themselves, no slouch either. Holographic foil, heavily used on these, just gives the cards an absolute amazing shine. And as you look through the cards, heavy use of holographic foil on the cards themselves, the little shine and shimmer that goes into every single one of these. It's just a really bright, vibrant deck. If you're a fan of holo foil, this is a must-have. And the artwork on the court cards from Elettra is some of her best work in my mind. It's just a whimsical, fun deck. It's a functional deck if you wanted to use this for gameplay, and one with the exact sort of unique features like that edge printing that are just what you want to see and what are going to make a deck more memorable. So really just amazing to think that Metal Arc has only produced a couple of decks of cards and yet knocked it out of the park so well with first Metal Arc and now Jay Dentistry. Really excited to see what else they have in store. All right, that's number 4 on the list. Now let's see the top 3. Taking the bronze medal for 2021 is another third way deck, Apotheosis. A lot of people forget that this is a 2021 deck. It was released very early in the year, and it is a phenomenal deck. It's a bit of a follow-up to Apocalypse, which appeared, I want to say, number 3 or number 2 on my list last year. And Apotheosis kind of continues the story. So where Apocalypse is about the destruction of the world, Apotheosis is about the rebirth of the world, a bit of a cyclical theme between the two decks. Now, this one borrows on a lot of the same design elements you'll see in Apocalypse, but features some amazing artwork in its own right. The gold and silver foiling on the tuck case, really super impressive. The texturing on the tuck case is just something really unique. And the cards themselves are, of course, beautiful. Now, Giovanni Moroni is a master of lore, and so you know you're going to get a heavy hit of it in the deck. But before you get to that, you're really just drawn in by the holographic foil that pops on the back of the cards. Full foiling on the back design of the cards. Cardamundi printed these and did an amazing job. The cards absolutely glow. When you get them in person, you can see the rainbow shine that comes off those back designs. Just a beautiful back design, classic Giovanni line work on here, but just given another dimension with that hollow foil. And the cards themselves feature some super intricate line work that Giovanni's so well known for. Sometimes he does blunter line work, but I like the decks where he does the really fine and detailed line work, and this is, in my opinion, some of his best. Lots of unique metallic colors that really just help the different characters come to life on this deck. I am a huge fan of what was done on this deck, and the characters on here are just so, I don't know, dark, mysterious, memorable, just an amazing set of cards and the story to go with them. The Jokers are some of the most beautiful on the deck, and it's just a great deck through and through. So a ton to like on this one, a ton of story to go with it. Beautiful cards, beautiful holofoil in the back design. Just what's not to like about this deck? As a third wave fan, I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards Giovanni's decks, but I've got to say he really knocked it out of the park with Apotheosis. So very well deserving of a top 3 spot, but let's see what beat it out. Number 2 on my list is Cult from Yoku Playing Cards. Now, 2021 was the year when Yoku introduced their Inner Circle. The Inner Circle is a monthly subscription where you get access to exclusive decks as well as their forum, which gives you some of the lore and stories behind the decks. Now, I'm a sucker for lore, and so I love getting access to the forums, but the decks themselves are truly beautiful as well. And the centerpiece of the Inner Circle is the exclusive Cult decks. 4 different decks, 1 for each element. One we're looking at here is the Air deck, and they are really just something else. They feature multi-part tuck cases that are done by Bashero and Newton, that beautiful blue, and then the bottom sleeve here, which you can see that kind of slight texture on them, finished with the wax seal and the ribbon, just gives you a unique and luxurious showpiece. And as you open it up, the cards are going to feature artwork from designer Alessandra Gagliano, and just like all of her work, it is absolutely beautiful. Gilded decks, you can see that silver gilding, beautiful artwork on the front. You can see one of the 4 winds there on the back design. And the artwork on the cards themselves is just next level. I love the characters that are drawn on these. I love the story and the lore that goes into it, the story of cults that each worship one of the 4 elements. And then the court cards that feature some of the deities or religious figures of the cult, if you will. Like there's Pan from Greek mythology there, for example. Just great artwork on these, and I love the story that goes into it that just brings this to a whole other level. Beautiful, beautiful deck. And the entire Inner Circle subscription has really just been one of the best things that I've discovered this year. And so if you're not an Inner Circle subscriber, I can't recommend it highly enough. Not only will you get access to whatever they have coming next for 2022, but you can even pick up some of the remaining Cult decks for yourself if you sign up now. So can't recommend it highly enough. Go check out Yoku. All of their decks are great, but the Inner Circle in particular, just one of the best things to happen in 2021. And that's why this one makes it onto my number 2 spot for the year. But there is one deck better. Let's find out what it is. And we've come to my best deck for 2021. And for this one, we're going to look at the very first National Playing Card Collection Day deck that I ever got. This is Hindsight. This was the 2020 design, but of course the deck itself wasn't finished until 2021. And for this one, we're looking at the Destruction version of the deck. It's actually a 6-deck series, multiple versions, and it's just a brilliant concept through and through. Alex Chin of Seasons Playing Cards always puts some of his best work into the NPCCD decks, and this one is no exception. The theme of this one is the story of Hindsight, and for this one, he borrows on the myth of Pandora. Pandora was said to have opened up a box that was given to her when she was told not to, and in so doing released all of the evils on the world. And the tuck case is meant to mimic the experience of opening the box. It comes with this huge tuck seal across the top that warns you not to open the box, but if you ignore the warning, cut down the center of the seal, you're able to open up this just amazing and unique tuck case. Folds up like nothing I've ever seen before, reveals beautiful images on the sides, and a peek at the cards inside. And just like the Pandora myth, when you open it up, you're treated to an image of hope on the inside on the Queen of Hearts. Hope was said to be the last thing remaining in the box after those evils escaped into the world when Pandora first opened the box. But it is a beautiful, unique tuck case, and the cards themselves are just true works of art. This particular version is blue gilded, bright electric blue, and the foil back as well is just so shiny, impressive, matches perfectly with that blue. Just a beautiful deck overall. And the cards themselves are true pieces of art. Just amazing work on these, following different bits of myths from Greek and Roman mythology, and some of the famous characters that maybe experience hindsight of their own. Queen of Spades there, by the way, is an image of Pandora with the box there. You can see those evil spirits leaking out, or the powerful image of Zeus on the King of Spades. Just some amazing artwork on these. You know, you could frame any one of these individual court cards, and I think it would just look great as a print on its own. Unique images, unique pictures, and just so much beauty that went into this deck. So for the concept, the tuck case, the beauty of the artwork, just the entire package all the way through, I cannot think of a more deserving #1 deck on the year than the 2020 NPCCD deck, Hindsight. Amazing job by Seasons, and a great way to close out my top 12 list. And that's a wrap. You know, it's always hard to limit these amazing decks to just a top 12, but this is my list. This is from number 12 all the way to number 1, my best decks of the year. Can't recommend any of these highly enough. I think you should go pick up all 12. They're just amazing designs through and through. Now, can't wait to see what's in store for 2022. Can only hope that it's half as good as 2021 was, because it was an amazing year. But anyway, that's it. That's my list. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to let me know down in the comments what your favorite decks of the year were, where you think I got things wrong, what decks maybe I should have included on the list, shouldn't have been included on the list. Really curious to know what your thoughts are. But anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.